duty.
This is a video explaining the changes that we have made between our drafts and our final pieces.
To start with the poster, the changes that we made was just spell checking and to see if the institutional information was correct and to make sure that we were happy with the information. We identified that Thatcher was spelled incorrectly and it also needed to be much bigger.
We also decided on changing a few words, such as instead of starring, it should be featured. We also changed co-produced to featuring and removed the commas between the names and just separated the names with a bit more space.
Having checked the poster, we needed to put the producer, which was Mosaic Films, and the distributor, which was Dogworth, as it was more conventional.
We felt that the title needed something to make it stand out a bit more and to make it more conventional and to make sure it catches the audience's attention.
We also experimented with glows and bevel, just playing around with it and finding that it did work better, and it added like a slight shadow to make it stand out more from the background.
The improvements made to our posters were just to make it more conventional.
Moving on to the radio advert. Again, for the radio there wasn't really much to change, but we did have to change the date of release from the radio to match it with the poster to make it more cohesive.
We also added a clip from a Vox Pop in to make it more a more opinionated response in the radio, and we replaced Renata's clip as we felt the audio didn't sound very good, so that was replaced.
We also just kept exclusively showcased at independent cinemas from the 17th. As previously it was too long when we added London based, so we just cut that shorter. And we also re-recorded the main voiceover of Charlotte to say "find us on Twitter."
Changes for the short documentary. The most obvious change that was made was at the start of the documentary, which was the effects of the newspaper headlines. We actually thought it would be better if they flew in to the screen, but after experimenting we decided that they should pop in. This is because we thought it would catch the attention of our audience and this was easier to keyframe, and yeah, Thatcher title zoomed in on the screen.
We also, to accompany the zooming in of Factual on the documentary, we added a gentle sting in the music to emphasise its appearance, and during the interview with Asim, we could see the arm there, so we just cropped that off, and that's the same with Dintner as well.
To provide our audience with information about the people in the interview, we also added names to the left-hand bottom corner and dissolved them in and out with all of our interviewees apart from the Vox Pops.
The lighting for most of our Vox Pops was pretty good. However, there was the one with the man which was quite dark. To improve it, we just raised the exposure of the Vox Pop to make it more light and friendly to the audience.
Our audio kind of fluctuated throughout. As a whole, the audio of the interviews compared to the background music wasn't very consistent. An example was at 1 minute 18 seconds the audio is really quiet. Therefore, as a group, one of our main focuses when we were editing was to make the audio consistent by adjusting the levels of audio.
Also, during the interviews with the audio, there was a slight buzz in the background, so we just removed the background hum and added this hum removal to all of the interviews to make it sound better.
With our shots with Dintner, we used a multi-cam angle. However, the lighting wasn't consistent between the two. Therefore, we had to adjust the exposure of light on the front shot of Dintner as it was really bright. So we just changed it to be a bit darker, so to make the shots a bit more consistent.
The shots of Dintner as well needed a montage shot, otherwise she was speaking for a long time. So we got shots of McDonald's to fill those montage shots as it related to what Dintner was talking about, such as the benefits and things of nutrition.
For the interview with Renata, We filmed it using multicam angles with a different camera, but the lightings and colour changes of the two footages were too inconsistent, and we tried editing it but it wasn't working, so we decided to just stick with the front facing shot and take the side shot out.
Therefore, to compensate, we used a montage of shots related to diet, such as someone standing on a scale or someone reading Slimming World magazines.
We did this because the picture that we're going to use for Renata before her weight loss, she hasn't authorised us to use that, so we had to use something instead.
Due to the music not being consistent, we had to ask Bruno to create a score for our documentary to provide more fluidity.
Final issue was the way the credits were constructed. We had to make it more conventional by slowing it down a little bit and use more technical vocabulary to make it sound more professional, and just make it more technical for the positions that each of us were responsible for example, like produced by, edited by, and so on.
So overall we had to change and adjust the colour, saturation and the exposures in some of the footage, such as the time lapses, especially outside London Euston, that was really overexposed. We utilised the tools that Final Cut allowed us to use, such as stabilising the footage, which was a bit shaky when we had no option to use a handheld camera, and we were even able to reduce the background sound with the hum reduction during the interviews, for example, just to make it more cinematic. Renata, fuck's sake, you put me.
Oh, okay. We'll cut that off.
Need that negativity.
And overall, in lots of the images and shots in the documentary, we had to bring down the exposure and adjust the colour, saturation, etc. for footage like the time lapse.
Can you not?